Pleasure Pier, but it's hardly historic. It's only going on being there years. Now, it gets its name from the original Pleasure Pier that was destroyed by Hurricane Carla back in 1961. Now, after that, they built the flagship hotel, and it opened its doors in 1965. It was in full operation all the way up until Hurricane Ike. Now, it was a Friday the 13th. I'm not superstitious, but it was a bad day, and I kind of wish I'd left the island. The original Pleasure Pier did not have all the carnival-style rides and games on it like this one does have, but that's okay. This whole parking lot was one big amusement park. I was born here back in 1964. I still remember the bumper cars that were still in operation. The carousel was there. So was the roller coaster, but they weren't functioning. It all went downhill from there. Now this pier did have a movie theater on the very end of it. You can sit in stadium-style seating looking out over the water onto the projected screen on the furthermost part of that pier. And I haven't heard of that anywhere else. That Bubba Gump Shrimp Company restaurant is the first one on the Texas coast, and they built that right on top of the flagship hotel's old swimming pool. That's why the concrete's real thick, just on that one side. It had to hold in all that water. Now, if you're worried about your hair, don't be. By the end of the tour, you're all going to have the duck do, courtesy of the Galveston Duck Tours. I pretty much don't worry about mine anymore. The beach sand that you see has been replenished, and it was done by the Weeks Dredging Company. They laid down about 2 million cubic yards of brand new sand. I spent most of my days watching them do it. Big 36-inch pipe, they just kept adding it until they reached 61st Street further down. Spent way too much time watching them do it, but it was mesmerizing. Sure, you've noticed that the seawall is higher than the surrounding areas. Did you know it's all storm that hit the island back in the 1900s? Aptly called the 1900 storm. Now that storm had 140-mile-an-hour sustained winds, 20-foot high waves that rolled over the seawall, taking homes and businesses with them. 6,000 people perished, 3,000 were unaccounted for, and it was the worst natural disaster in U.S. history to this date. And that's why they built this seawall. It's 17 feet high, 10.5 miles long, and the sidewalk on top of it runs the entire length of it, making it one of the world's longest beachside promenades. Now this seawall did prove its worth as early as 1950, when another storm equally as impressive hit the island. But since this seawall was in place, they spotted German submarines out there, German U-boats. So they put gun placements all up and down the seawall. One of those gun placements, and I'll point it out to you further up, housed 12-inch diameter guns capable of hitting targets 16 miles out to sea. Now that is a pretty good trick, because you can only see 12 miles out to the horizon, and that's on a clear day. They had Navy spotters out there that would call out coordinates, and that's how those gunners could hit their mark. Now, those big guns are never fired in anger, but they were test fired. And when they were responsible for broken glass and windows all up and down the seawall, just from the concussion of the blast. You see, we actually hurt ourselves more than the enemy ever did. And you know there's a lifeguard on stand when they're flying the orange and yellow flag on the lifeguard stands. That yellow one just means caution. There's a legend up here that tells you what all the flags do mean. As the weather changes, so do those flags. Commodore Hotel to our right suffered severe roof damage after Hurricane Ike. So they just added a floor to it and put a roof on top of that. Who cares if the bricks match or not? Now this Doze Restaurant that's just beyond 37th Street to the right, it's an iconic restaurant. Been on the island for over 100 years, family owned. But it wasn't always in this location. Not everyone knows that. They used to have a pier over the water, not too far from Murdoch's, that souvenir shop. But they've been here since 1962, after Hurricane Carla. Now Dick's is run by Dick Guido, the son. Kind of a happening spot, live bands on the weekends. Usually set up right there in that corner by the pool. Somewhat limited menu. The original Guido's has everything on the menu, no live bands. Now, both of these restaurants share the same kitchen. It is a family affair. Is that big giant blue crab, kids? Come on, Galveston Bay. I just like reading their sign. Now the trolley stops. There's one to our left and one beyond the intersection. For $1, they'll take you up and down the seawall to Mooney Garden, Schlitterbahn Waterpark, or the Strand District. If your minor children are with you, they are free. Another amenity that's popped up are these bathrooms. This one to our left is called the Portland Loo. We have 5 of those, each costing $90,000. They're some kind of stainless steel enameled, thank goodness, but one thing I like about them, they have a shower on the back side of them, so you don't have to take all that sand with you when you get back in your car. To our right, Sherwin-Williams must have had a sale on all their sample pastel paints. And just beyond this Mardi Gras inspired strip mall is going to be what's left of Fort Crockett. Now there used to be 9 two-story officer quarters up here towards the front. The barracks, they're still there. The small brick building back behind is brand new ER that they built on the old Fort Crockett property. Now it's named after Davy Crockett of Alamo fame, and that's why those structures that they left alone resemble little tiny Alamos. They started working on Fort Crockett back in 1907. They had it completed for the most part by 1911. They did train fighter pilots for both World War I and World War II right over there, believe it or not. That was all decommissioned in 1957. Oh, this whole area is considered Fort Crockett to the locals. Up ahead where the palm trees are to our left, well, that's also Fort Crockett. That was a park. It was made possible by a grant from the Frito-Lay Company. It used to be where they had gun placements. And when I was a kid, they even had like little places here along the seawall in the corners, and there was tunnels that ran all up and down. They've since been filled in, and there's not very many of them anymore. But it was a facility that was defending itself. So, Frito-Lay paid for the construction, design of that park right up there to the left, and then gave it to the city of Galveston after Hurricane Ike. And it was very, very generous. But it could explain why those look like 2 big Cool Ranch Dorito chips in the air over there. You got your salsa, you got your chips, you're all set. Sometimes we see dolphins on the water, but I never promise anybody that we're going to see dolphins. Unless I'm pointing at the ones to our left on the seawall. But every once in a while, they do show up. Galveston is a barrier island, the longest one on the Texas coast, 31.5 miles long, 2 miles wide as one. There's a lot of plaques, even some historical artifacts that tell about the seawall's history. This concrete structure really doesn't have one. I know it looks like it does. That was Battery Laval, and it housed 10-inch mortars. Now the green statue at the arm outstretched, now that was dedicated to the people that lost their lives in the 1900 storm and the survivors. It was dedicated September 8 of 2000, 100 years after that fateful storm. And that leads us to this on the back side of the Hoskins Battery. There was one big giant 12-inch gun right behind these villas, aimed towards the ship channel way back behind us. This hill is hollow. You can drive a tank through it from that one gun placement through it all, straight to the other side. Where you can plainly see the second gun placement, or that one's twin. You're looking at one, you're looking at the other, they look the same. The guns that were in here were called M1895s. They were on disappearing carriages, and when they fired them, they broke everybody's windows. The men who manned them lived in these buildings along that esplanade. They were coast guard residences for a very long time. After Wright, Tillman Fertitta bought those up, $1 million buyer thing. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a Rockets training camp there at some point. He owns that franchise as well. Rainforest Cafe, they have a fiery light show on top of their watery mountain starting at 6:30 and every half hour after until closing time. And that Landry Seafood Restaurant, we used to have 2 on the island. That's the survivor of Hurricane Ike. Now we only have 1. I understand they have excellent margaritas, or so I've been told. What story? Art Use Convention Center, 14 years old, took 3 years to build it. couple of days ago, had cheerleading championships going on inside. Every year, Mary Kay Cosmetics has its show there as well. Usually, I can tell whether I'm working or not because the island is overrun with pink Cadillacs. Up ahead to our left is our 61st Street fishing pier. If you want to try that saltwater fishing, all you need is your person. They can provide you with everything else. Yeah, it's over there somewhere. The 91st Street fishing pier also has the same full rental policy and a restaurant on top of that one called Jimmy's on the Pier. It's actually pretty good. Good food, great view. This is actually the first traffic of the day. Everybody can see where they're going now. All right.
Hey everybody, I am in Galveston, Texas, and y'all are on a duck tour. So we're getting ready to go in the water, so stay tuned.
They've got two brand new lifeguard stands. Here's one of them over here. It's kind of neat. It's all made out of fiberglass. Doze Restaurant sponsored one and they skinned it. And the other one is the Moody Gardens, but aren't they pretty? Look at those things. I wouldn't be surprised if all of them end up looking like those. Now this beach beyond 61st Street, relatively new. Great Lakes Dredging Company is responsible for that one. There was no beach there before 4 years ago. Now they named it Babes Beach, but not after a scantily clad beach goer. They named it after A.R. Schwartz, a senator that used to represent this district, and his nickname just happened to be Babe, so they named it after him. Gotta be careful when I tell people about the brand new beach. That's New Beach with a W. You can never be too sure. Yeah, well, leaving the seawall behind, we're on 61st Street now. This is the first road that takes you coming off the causeway all the way up to the beaches. And a lot of kids make this part of their cruise route on the weekends. It's dotted with fast food restaurants all up and down it, and has a cholesterol level that will drive your doctor crazy. Now there are cemeteries up to our right. I know everyone has a big interest in cemeteries. I'm no exception. Anyhow, it's on the tour we gotta talk about. 4 separate denominations to our right. Some of the oldest gravestones on the island are just beyond that Little Caesars Pizza surrounding a white maintenance shack. Some of those date back to the late 1700s. They are weathered and worn. Kind of hard to even read who's buried there. There'll be a Catholic cemetery up to our left, Greek Orthodox cemetery beyond the light to the right. Now this is a lot of cemeteries for such a small town as Galveston, and a lot of different denominations. This isn't even all of the cemeteries. Well, the reason for that, Galveston was a huge immigration port. It was second only to Ellis Island of New York, or New Jersey if you happen to be from that area. They fight about it. But after the Cuban Missile Crisis, it was shut down as a port of entry and just never reopened. Further on the tour, I'll point out the Seaport Museum. They do have a database. If you have ancestors that came in through the port of Galveston, it should be able to tell you so. Now, life-changing, I'm sure it's not, but it could prove interesting. My wife made me do the DNA test. I thought I was German my entire life. Turns out I'm not. I'm Welsh. I'm not even sure what that means. If you want to go to Mini Gardens, you can take a left here at Stewart Road. Easiest way to get there is stay on the seawall at 81st Street and take a right. Now, if you hold on to your yellow ticket stubs and I hand it back to you and you want to enjoy some excellent pizza later on, this Mario's Restaurant to our right, been in the same spot since 1967, and they'll give you 10% off your meal if you so choose to go eat there. Now, they do make the best pizza, but you don't have to take my word for it. They painted it on the front of their building, and then they underlined it. Now, I was on the fence until I saw it underlined. The guy that was driving the slingshot that was honking at us, that's Billy Jack. He rents them out right over here to our left. He'll give you an extra half hour on one of his vehicles if you show him that yellow duck ticket. We used to have a Hooters restaurant over the Gulf of Mexico. Hurricane Ida, 20 years ago, 20 years ago. Now, if you hold on to your yellow ticket stubs and I hand it back to you and you want to enjoy some excellent pizza later on, this Mario's Restaurant to our right, been in the same spot since 1967, and they'll give you 10% off your meal if you so choose to go eat there. Now, they do make the best pizza, but you don't have to take my word for it. They painted it on the front of their building, and then they underlined it. Now, I was on the fence until I saw it underlined. The guy that was driving the slingshot that was honking at us, that's Billy Jack. He rents them out right over here to our left. He'll give you an extra half hour on one of his vehicles if you show him that yellow duck ticket. decided it'd be better if it knocked it all down, along with Geraldo Rivera, who was covering the storm at the time. Don't worry, the firefighters put him back up on his feet. He continued to report. Now, they built another one over here to the right. This building here has been many different restaurants, and I've liked them all. None of them lasting any longer than a couple of years. Now, this Hooters restaurant has been there over 4 years, and they'll probably continue to do good business, but only because Hooters food is so delicious. We're going to be taking a left.
Yes, Red, it is.
They named it Bird's Lane. We used to have a large population of salt grass eating cows on the west end. We still have cows on the west end, but nowhere near what it was. And when they needed to herd them, they herded them down this lane. I'm 50% sure that's true. And the moment you've all been waiting for.
Alright, guys.
You didn't say it goes in the water? Oh my goodness.
Oh gosh. Here we go.
Fellow ducks up ahead. I know I speak duck. I'll get them out of the way.
Woo!
Alright. Well, the water we just entered is not all that deep. It's about 8 to 12 feet. And it's called Office Bayou. There's another bayou on the other side. That one is English Bayou. This one's natural. That one was dug out many years ago. There we go. There we are. Now we're floating. If you see some fish jumping out of the water, those would probably be mullet. Finger mullet are an excellent bait. I've never been to a fish fry where they're frying up the mullet. I'm sure it exists, but I mean, I guess you're hungry enough. It doesn't taste gamey. I tried one time just to be able to say that I did. I did not eat the whole fish. There are about 100 different species of fish that are good to eat out here. There's speckled trout, red drum, black drum, croaker, pinky, whiting, sheephead. I'd say speckled trout and flounder would be the most prevalent out here. This has got an all sandy bottom. Might see some pelicans flying around in the distance while we're out here. They were almost extinct due to the overuse of the pesticide DDT that was used back in the 1970s. It made the shells of the birds so thin that they weren't viable. Now they discontinued the use of that pesticide, borrowed some brown pelicans from Florida, and they were able to repopulate the species here. And they made a miraculous comeback. Now, have you ever had the feeling that you're just spinning your wheels for no reason whatsoever? Does that ever happen to you? Why, it happens to me every single time. And now we're only propelled by our propeller. All that undercarriage just going along for the ride. Before I failed the pitchman, that's a cigar bar, and they'll give you 10% off if you want to go in there and buy a stogie, sit on the back deck, and just watch all the ducks go by throughout the day. I'll wave at you if I see you, if I recognize you. If you like fried shrimp, and the only way you like them is fried, you're in luck. That Darlene shrimp boat goes out, catches Gulp shrimp, brings them back, fries them up 30 feet away. And at the very end of the bottom of that sign, Aunt Margie says, discount to duck tour riders. So go in there with your yellow ticket. Sometimes they have whole fish in there too. This building that's light blue in color, well, it's got a few functions. It is the Waterfront Event Center. That's one. It's also extreme water sports on the back side. They rent jet skis, kayaks, paddle boards, and paddle boats. They also have something called the flyboard, which uses the jet ski propulsion to send you out of the water 15 to 20 feet up in the air. You can spin around like Iron Man or dive into the water and pop back out like a porpoise. Usually, when they're out here doing that, no one pays attention to me. Now, they also have sunset weddings on this lowest deck. And when the sun does go down, it does so way over here to our left where all those palm trees are. And that palapa is situated on the end of that pier that is also called Farmer's Point. And on an off note tonight, y'all want to check out the moon. It's supposed to be super bright, big, and wonderful. I'm just sure bad things are going to happen tomorrow night. So be careful. You never know when it's full moon. Little strip of land beyond all this, that's the Lee and Joe Jabale Bay Park. If you were here years ago before Hurricane Ike, it was Washington Park, and it was severely damaged by that storm. Everything that hurricane collected in its lifetime was able to make it over this bridge into the nice people's homes on the backside of English Bayou. It was all used as a battering ram, and it really did a lot of damage. It's always been kind of a protection, but just not this one case. The water was 16 feet higher than what we're looking at right now. That means all those cars going by on 61st Street would have been underwater. The city spent $10 million repairing this little strip of land. Brand new bulkheads throughout the whole thing. 2 new fishing piers, picnic area, pedestrian bridge, and the public boat ramp at the very end, which is a pretty big deal. It's the only public boat ramp on the island right now. Now, if Offit's Bayou and English Bayou sound familiar to you, they did make national headline news for the most damage done in a relatively small area. A lot of homes were damaged on the backside of English Bayou. This 3.5 block area up here to our forward left was wiped out. Most everything over there you see today is brand new. And now for some silence, which is really hard for me.
Hold on, guys.
I believe everyone should experience the top speed of the duck at one point of their life. That was it right there, 6.3 miles per hour. I am sorry if I scared you. It's a bit harrowing for me as well. Now in the distance, you'll see an opening in the water. That's the entrance to the Intercoastal Canal. And if you kept going that way about a mile and a half, you'd be right out in it. Corps of Engineers ensures that it's dredged out to at least 16 feet. It's used mostly by small ships and barge traffic, hugging the coast as it makes its way. The thing that looks like a bridge to nowhere, that's just the lights for the airport. If you're coming on the island at night, you'll see all these blue lights. Well, that's part of them. The approach lights. Very pretty at night, actually. This is Colonel Paddle Boat in the distance. She comes out here for excursions throughout the day, has dinner and dance cruises in the evening time as well. 2 air-conditioned decks, sun deck on top, concessions on board, and she's a lot of fun. Stays out here for about an hour. Now you buy your ticket for her over there at Moody Gardens. That pink pyramid is their Discovery Pyramid, home to space travel and space exploration for a hands-on children's museum. To the left of that, the Rainforest Pyramid, several different rainforests in it. And as you walk through it, you might be able to tell the subtle differences. They have scarlet ibis walking along the pathways before you, bleeding heart doves up in the trees, parrots, macaws, iguanas, turtles, all types of flora and fauna. And then there's the aquarium, 6th largest in North America, 13 stories high. Moody Gardens itself is home to over 17,000 different plants, animals, birds, insects, and fish. They have an IMAX theater, a zip line running throughout their property, a white sand beach with Florida sand, looks like sugar. Lazy river, splash pad for the kids, and during the summer months, every weekend they have bands on the sand, followed by fireworks over Offit's Bayou. A lot of people will come in their personal boats, anchor out there, and just take advantage of the free fireworks show. Or you can be way back there, over there, the Lee and Joe Jamale Bay Park, get a pretty good vantage point from there as well. Moody Gardens Hotel, salmon color building with the spires on top, that's connected to their large convention center. And Moody Gardens is neighbors to the Schlitterbahn Waterpark, which has the highest water coaster in the United States right now. It's called the Massive. And that's German for massive. So if you make your way out there to Moody Gardens, really no shortage of things to do, and something for everyone. Now that hotel does have a restaurant on the very top of it. It's called Shern's. Really good views. Looking out over Offit's Bayou, Galveston Bay, you can also see the Gulf of Mexico. Really nice views. But it's not cheap. Yeah, you pay for those views. All these homes, if we are coming about, all these homes are private residences, each one receiving about 1.5 feet of water in their second story during Hurricane Ike. All except for the ones beyond the palapa, the blue one in my house. Yeah. No. No, they got no water because they were built after Hurricane Ike and 2 feet higher than all the rest now. And now I'd like to tell you about the duck itself. There were 22,000 of these built between the years of 1940 and 1945. In fact, then it cost about $4,500 to build one in Pontiac, Michigan. They're 31 feet long, they're 8.2 feet wide, propelled by a solid brass 45-pound, 24-inch propeller. They also have what is called a Higgins pump. And what that is, it's a huge pump underneath the floor behind me. What it does, it can pump out water coming in from as large as a 4-inch hole. They were designed that way so they can take multiple hits of gunfire and still deliver their payloads to the beaches and beyond. Now, since the men were away at war, these ducks were built primarily by women. So way to go, ladies. Great job. Appreciate you. Woohoo! Ladies. Gentlemen, the life jackets are still right in my hand. Now, all the ducks that you see here in the United States, many of those never made it overseas. And of the great many that went overseas, many of those never made it back. Now, it's not because they were blown up during warfare. Well, I'm sure a percentage of them were to provide what niche they would fill. And they also thought it'd just be way too expensive to bring them all back. So what did they do with all those surplus ducks? Well, I'll tell you. After the war, they loaded them back up onto the ships, they sailed them out to the Pacific Ocean, they removed the drain plugs, started them up, and then they rolled them off the back of the ships. Now, as long as they were running, they could pump out any water coming in through those small drain plug holes. But as soon as the engine ran out of fuel and the pump wouldn't operate, that's when they slowly took on water and then sank to the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. And that's what happened to the vast majority of them. That is how they met their demise. But don't worry, that's just your tax dollars that were. Why, I read on the internet last night that the government doesn't waste your money like that anymore, so it's gotta be true. Now, if you have an RV, you come to the island and bring your home with you. This RV park up ahead to our right is a nice one. Other than being right on the water like it is, one of its cool features is a huge sandbar that runs out beyond the rocky shoreline. It is shallow for a great many yards out. It makes it an excellent floundering and fishing bowl, or just playing around, laying on a flotation device, which I see quite often. If you run out of bait, Aunt Margie's is right across the waterway. And show that yellow ticket, she'll give you 10% off. Originally, that was Boudreaux's. It was pretty good. They had bands on the very bottom, a bar on the third floor. Then it was Cameroni's, same thing. They had bands on the bottom, bar on the third floor. Now I think it's just part of the marina. There was always talk of somebody opening up another bar. So far, it's just been talk. But in any case, when it was a bar, you really had to be careful when you went there. Their steps were straight up and down. Around 201 or 202, they were even steeper. Matter of fact, if you miss one, you're probably going to miss three. Maybe the third floor is not the best place for a bar, I'm just saying. Now, the building beyond it will show them a good time that might not have otherwise been able to do so. They have a wheelchair-accessible fishing barge with powerful fishing lights. Three-story pontoon party boat. Middle pontoon has a bow rudder. They can turn that thing around on a dime. Couple of yachts. Let's see one's not here. I imagine they are out yachting. And during the summer, it's full of jet skis and ski boats as well. Easy to get jealous over all their nice toys until you realize not one of them can drive out of the water. That's what we're going to do here in just a moment. Now, these ducks weigh about 6.5 tons, completely empty. But it's really nothing for them to climb out of the water. It's just a really good design that has served them well. Another interesting fact about the duck, you actually use the front two tires to steer it around. Now I do have a rudder and I use it, but usually just once if I want to make a hard turn, like around that number 2 channel marker, just so I can get around. What else? These ducks used to have compressors on board, giving it the capability to inflate or deflate its tires at will, depending on what coral reef they had to break through, what sandy beach they had to drive on. But we don't need all that. We have four-wheel drive. I'll gauge that once I get up. You're wondering what that white truck's doing out there? That's my boss spying on me. So just look like you're having the best time you ever had. Oh my gosh. Just kidding. That's alright. He thinks I don't see him. I saw him right when he first started. And now we have the best of both worlds. Prop's still spinning, but so too now are all the tires. All we need is that little strip of land right there. Now what he's doing, don't tell anybody, he's putting a camera up there like you have when you go deer hunting. I mean, it's a trust thing for me. I just don't, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. That remembers SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh, I love to sing that song. That's one of the bosses right here. Don't call him boss, he doesn't want me to tell anybody. Of course, the speaker's pretty loud, he probably just heard that. Don't forget him, he's a virtue runner. It'd be funny if everybody just goes, oh, there's a pineapple under the sea. Absorbent and porous and yellow as he. Yes, nautical nonsense be something you wish. You jump on the deck and flop like a fish. SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants. Now, since we want to go a little bit faster than 20 miles an hour, which is all we can do in four-wheel drive, I put us back into regular drive so we can go the full 45 miles an hour. Okay. Speed demon. We don't want this to turn into a 3-hour tour. You know how those turn out.
Right.
Hello, random stranger. All right, we got everybody. Raise your hands if you're not here. Okay. Now, if you're keeping track, we're going to get right back on the 61st Street. We'll make our way down to Broadway. We'll pass up some mansions, and then we'll go see what's going on down on the Strand. Y'all been on the Strand yet? Strand's a lot of fun. Other than the water portion of the tour, Strand's always my second favorite. I'm usually on the beach most of the day.
Hope y'all enjoyed the tour, and I'm gonna come back on live when we get on a seawall. Okay, so love you all. Bye.